See this deer over here?
So there's feathers in this cup, and then right inside there is wrapped with string.
That's kind of scary.
Oh my gosh! I'm trying to find a rational explanation too.
On December 13th, 2025, Sophie, the creator behind Outdoor Girl Sophie, headed out alone for a camping trip in a forest beside a lake in Denmark, not far from where she grew up. Her channel centers on calm solo camping and genuine outdoor moments. With rain, wind, and early darkness moving in, the once familiar landscape gradually began to feel unsettling. As Sophie makes her way toward the campsite, soaked ground, chilly air, and the fading light cause the forest to feel heavier than normal. Even though she knows the area well, the quiet and shortened daylight bring on a sense of isolation. Nothing has happened yet, but the atmosphere already feels uncomfortable.
So I'm walking towards the campsite and I see this deer over here. Oh, I thought it was fake, but now it moved. What should I do? Should I go there? Is he gonna be angry? I'm a little bit afraid. Now he's just enjoying himself. I'm gonna try and go a little bit closer. So now it's lying down right behind this table. Maybe this is his spot or hers. So I guess I should find another place. I was planning to stay at this shelter here. It has a nice fire pit. So I'm actually really unsure what to do because now I'm worried if it's sick. It's just lying so still. I'm wondering if I need to call animal control in Denmark, but maybe it's normal. I don't know. I think I'm gonna try and call someone. I don't want it to be lying there in pain. Ikke når jeg nærmer mig altså tæt på den, eller siger høje lyde. Yes, tak. Lady told me to go close to it and check if I could see any wounds or diarrhea around it. But I was a little bit afraid to go too close and I couldn't see anything. She thinks that it might be because they are in mating season now, but she also asked me to send some pictures and videos and then she would get back to me about what to do. But I'm also a little bit afraid to go close to it. If it's a male in mating season, they can be a bit dangerous. Now I've sent the pictures and a video to Animal Protection. Let's see what they find out. Luckily I have my tent and then I'm gonna put it up over here.
At the lakeside shelter, Sophie spots what she initially believes is a wooden figure. It soon becomes clear it's a deer standing perfectly still. Rather than running off, the animal stays put and later lies down near the picnic table. When it continues not to move, concern grows. Unsure whether it's hurt, Sophie contacts Animal Protection Services. She's told the deer is likely worn out from mating season, yet it remains close as daylight disappears.
The lady from Animal Protection just called me back. She says that even though the deer looks okay, it's very unusual that I can go that close. So she is gonna send out a guy who's gonna have a second look and see if there's anything that needs to be done. I'm gonna keep an eye out for him. Now I really think that it's sick. It has laid its head down into the ground. Even though I'm going very close by it, it's just laying completely still. I hope that that man is coming soon and that he's able to find me. So I just called the Animal Protection and they cancelled the guy who was on his way out here. Apparently they think, based on the video I sent, that it's just very tired from the mating season. It's just laying there waiting for a new partner. So now I'm gonna find another place to start a campfire. Now I need to get my fire going. I hope that I can, even with this very wet firewood that I found. So I was standing next to the tent and suddenly I saw the deer approaching me. I ran off, or I walked away, and the deer came all the way up to the tent, starting just smelling it. And now it's eating grass right next to the tent. So I went over to the second shelter, and then I saw some eyes light up in the dark behind the shelter. So now I'm a little bit worried that maybe it's a female deer looking to meet up with the deer next to my tent. And yeah, so now I crawled into this shelter. I've always heard that in mating season you should not go near it. It's getting later and later in the evening. I haven't made a fire yet, so I cannot cook any dinner without a fire. Do you see the eyes of the deer? It is just standing right next to my backpack, eating grass. So I have a lighter in my pocket, but my fire starters are in my backpack. And I don't have that much success starting a fire without that support. The food is also in my backpack. Maybe he will go away soon. I don't have any luck with this campfire. I think the wood is too wet. I did manage to get my backpack now. The deer moved a few meters away from the table, so now I have all my stuff except for the tent, where the deer is still standing right next to it. I actually think that I'm gonna go home. Just as I was about to get up and leave, I called my dad and he calmed me down. Probably more afraid of me than I am of it. I have tried for almost an hour to get it going, and yeah, I think the wood is too wet. Now I'm sitting inside my tent. I am really hungry, and I have to try and see what I can cook for my dinner.
After setting up her tent in near darkness, the deer returns, moving close to her backpack. Knowing the risks during mating season, Sophie decides not to cook outside. Wet wood keeps her from starting a fire, and she briefly thinks about leaving, calling her father for reassurance. When the deer finally wanders off, she chooses to stay.
Good morning. It has been very windy this night, and I actually see that one of the pegs have come out, so the tent is kind of collapsed. Luckily I have all my gear inside of the tent where I'm sleeping, so actually nothing happened.
The night remains calm, but strong winds partially collapse the tent by morning. As rain returns, Sophie packs up, leaves no trace, and heads back toward the trail, ending the trip safely, though still uneasy. Some viewers see innocent curiosity, while others point out that prolonged, fearless wildlife behavior can be unpredictable. When nature doesn't act as expected, do you rely on explanations, or the instinct that tells you to stay cautious? On December 9th, 2025, Gavin from the YouTube channel Groovy Gavin examines some of the most unsettling real animatronics still operating today. His channel focuses on disturbing locations and the psychology of fear. Traveling to sites across the United States and beyond, Gavin aims to understand why human-like machines can feel deeply uncomfortable, even when no actual threat is present.
I'm starting in a little place you've probably never heard of called Billy Bob's Wonderland. As you can see, there's literally no one here. There's one other car that might be the owner. It is open though. Oh my gosh, here they are. There's a ton of animatronics here that all come from an old pizza place called Showbiz Pizza. When I first walked into this little arcade slash pizza place, I ran into one of the only people there, one of the workers. Do people come here usually just for this?
Oh yeah, they'll sit there all day and just push the button.
And all the buttons play a show. Back to the animatronics and how creepy I think they are. A lot of the creepiest videos I see of animatronics, it's all like really bad quality. So I think that kind of adds to the creepiness. Here. So starting off with the left of the stage, the Rolf and Earl Show. These two guys don't sing like the rest of them. They're meant to be a side stage comedy act between an alpha wolf and his ventriloquist dummy.
On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me. I got it.
Moving over to the center of the stage is the Rockafire Explosion Band. We got Duke LaRue on the drums. His eyes are tweaked out. He's definitely the most chill out of all of them. We got Beach Bear, who has some really creepy old videos. And Mitzi Mozzarella. She kept winking at me. Next, we got the monkey. Uh-oh. That's Geronimo on the keyboard. But the main mascot and star of the show is Billy Bob himself, who is just over on the right. He actually just looked at me. We got Billy Bob, who I know a lot of people say online is one of the most terrifying animatronics that still exists today. He also has this friend Looney Bird, who I do think is a lot more creepy. And I even found some videos of him being made. They all play different shows. I can't play any of the audio, unfortunately, because it will copyright me, but it changes from time to time, and it definitely makes the whole thing a bit more uncanny. I think the biggest reason they're creepy to me is their eyes. That's the first thing I look at people. It really does feel like they're looking at you. So I'll group all of these together and give them an uncanny rating of 7.5.
Gavin starts at Billy Bob's Wonderland, where animatronics from the Showbiz Pizza era remain on display. These figures were originally designed for live stage shows, but years of aging and modification have changed how they look. Their faces, especially the eyes, no longer show clear expressions, slowly shifting the mood from playful to disturbing as the exploration continues.
We're in San Francisco. We traveled very far here for one thing and one thing only, and this animatronic is called Laughing Sal. People seem to say this is one of the most like creepy or uncanny ones, so Musée Mécanique. Here it is. Dude, it's so loud, bro. Why did they make this? If I was a kid, I would 100% have nightmares about this. It's the sound that makes it so bad. Like, it actually sounds scary. The purpose of this was to stand outside of rides or attractions and like just non-stop laugh. It was to get people's attention. It became standard practice for any carnival or fair to have one of these. I think what makes this one so weird is like, the movements are so unnatural, and then the laughing, whoever recorded that, it just sounds terrifying. I'm gonna have to give this one an uncanny rating of 6. I just don't think it was that creepy to me. But what was cool about the place that had Laughing Sal is they had a ton of other animatronics. This one's kind of creepier. I'm not gonna lie, this one's so much more like uncanny to me. Like, look at the eyes, bro.
Bro, imagine all of them laughing at the same time in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh, that would be awful.
The next destination is Laughing Sal at San Francisco's Musée Mécanique. Built to attract attention through loud laughter and constant motion, the animatronic relies on repetition rather than performance. Over time, mechanical wear has altered its timing, making the encounter feel invasive instead of amusing.
We're here with the animatronics. They are creepy, but it's kind of familiar, man. It's kind of comfy. Like, I feel like a little kid again. But what's crazy about these that I mentioned earlier is all of these were converted from the ones at Showbiz Pizza to these ones now here at Chuck E. Cheese. First, we got Helen Henny. She was the creepiest. Her eyes are terrifying. And then we got Mr. Munch. This is the man on the keyboard. He kept clocking me, like just staring at me. But I believe this is what the gorilla was turned into. Then we got Jasper T. Jowls, probably the same as Beach Bear, I believe. Pascally P. Pieplate. This is the drummer. This is probably what the dog got turned into from Showbiz Pizza. And then finally, we got the main man, Chucky himself, which obviously, like I mentioned earlier, this is what Rolf turned into. Definitely when you get closer to them, they're all a little bit creepier. I don't know if they were glitching out, but when the curtains lowered when they weren't playing music, they like keep moving after. It's kind of creepy.
Oh shit!
Oh,
That's
what
kind
the-
of scared me.
Oh my gosh.
We see you.
Is he still moving?
Yeah.
Why is he still moving?
Look down.
And that was the final animatronic that I visited. And I did feel the most uncanny at this one.
At a Chuck E. Cheese location that still uses animatronics, Gavin captures an unexpected moment after the show concludes. When the curtains close, the figures continue to move without synchronized routines. While this is described as a normal mechanical state, the unscripted motion after the performance becomes the most unsettling moment of the investigation. Even without real danger, unclear eye focus and movement outside expected moments can provoke deep psychological discomfort. When machines are designed to imitate life, where does harmless design stop and unease begin? On November 20th, 2025, the YouTube channel The Adventurer, recognized for documenting real camping and survival experiences, records a night in a remote forest locals describe as Anchor. A small group establishes a campsite near a river, anticipating a peaceful stay. As night settles in, the atmosphere of the forest begins to feel unfamiliar and uneasy.
Sini sih nanti kena api pula kan. Capek ya. Masih baru lagi waktunya. Masih lama lagi ya. Gas kan. Kayak mau hujan nih. Iya. Takutnya malam hujan nih Pak Ben. Iya. Tapi Pak Ben waktu kami camping sini dulu Pak Ben ini kan pernah nih bekas kami kemarin nih. Iya. Semoga angker juga tempat ini Pak. Bukan kayak lagi rasaku iya nih Pak Ben. Iya. Awalnya lain Pak Ben. Auranya beda sama tempat lain. Iya. Dan sekarang kita akan mendirikan tenda. Ini ya kita taruh. Iya, ya. Pinggir sungai ini ya. Iya. Oke. Ini udah terbuka ya? Iya.
After setting up beside the river, the group relaxes near the campfire. Discussion shifts to local warnings about the forest being unlike other camping areas. While nothing appears out of place, recalling these past stories alters the mood, leaving everyone more alert as darkness deepens. The camp follows its routine, but attention remains focused on the surrounding shadows.
Apa tuh? Apa itu? Wih, itu. Oh, burung malam. Sahabat di Adventure, katanya di sini kita dapat informasi tadi. Katanya daerah ini agak rawan, kita harus hati-hati. Pak Ben udah menghilang dia. Itu dia. Oh itu, Pak Ben. Hati-hati Pak Ben. Apa tuh dah? Woi. Oh, Pak Ben. Pak Ben. Alah Pak Ben nih. Jadi apa tadi Pak Ben? Manjat-manjat. Tengok kayu. Oh, kayu kering. Kirain apa pula tadi Pak Ben? Kayak ada yang nongol gitu kan? Iya. Oh, ada suara tadi. Aku dengar juga suara tadi. Jadi sini depan Jo. Ada yang aneh ya. Barang kita ada yang hilang tiba-tiba. Ini bahaya nih Pak Ben. Iya. Jadi sini Pak Jo. Iya. Mana? Di mana Pak Ben taruh tadi Pak Ben? Oh, ini dia ada. Oh, itu. Alhamdulillah. Pokoknya ada aja hal-hal yang aneh di sini ya. Lanjut masak.
Jadi suasana di hutan ini sangat luar biasa ya, nyaman ya kan.
Belakang Pak Ben tengok, itu belakang Pak Ben tuh. Tuh dia tuh.
Ada bayangan Mas ya?
Itu tuh.
Ada bayangan tuh, ada bayangan tuh.
Tuh Ben, tuh. Apa tuh Ben? Besar, panjang, tinggi.
Iya.
Wis. Oh, sini aja Pak Ben.
Memang sia-sia dia masaknya Maju ya. Patir Maju ya.
As the night continues, several unusual incidents take place. Odd bird calls echo through the trees, a tool briefly disappears before turning up again, and a tall, dark figure moves behind the campsite. Later, distant howling sounds carry through the forest. Each moment seems minor on its own, but together they steadily build tension as the group continues cooking and eating. By the time the fire is rebuilt and coffee is made, The forest no longer feels peaceful.
Nikmat sekali kopi malam ini kan. Cuman kita nggak boleh terlalu apa namanya euforia. Iya. Karena kan tadi kan ada juga pemberitahuan dari warga. Ya pas kita ke sini tadi. Pak Ben. Apa ya? Terbang itu apa ya? Apa tuh? Kita pintu lagi. Sepertinya daerah ini nggak aman, Bang. Apa? Dari sini, Pak Ben. Pak Ben, gempa, Pak Ben. Oh, enggak. Apa? Astagfirullahaladzim. Allah. Jangan ganggu kami. Allah. Pegang, Pak Ben, pegang, Pak Ben. Astagfirullahaladzim. La haula wala quwata illa billah. Enggak usah terlalu takut kali.
Kita banyak berdoa aja, Manjul ya.
Iya. Suara apa itu? Kita keluar dulu, Pak.
Tidur aja langsung.
Kalau keluar
Ya buat Mi. Ya tidur aja, Pak Ben. Ya.
Tidur kita lagi, yuk.
Aja ini udah nongol lah. Apa dia? Astagfirullahaladzim. Ya Allah.
nampak aku, Mas.
Itu dia, Pak Ben.
Tidur lagi, Mas.
Ayolah. Astagfirullahaladzim. Tidur pinjam mata. Ya. Baca doa apa, Ben?
Shortly after midnight, the situation escalates without warning. Several objects are suddenly thrown upward and forced away from the campsite, causing immediate confusion. In fear, the group retreats into the tent, but moments later the tent begins to shake violently. Overcome with terror, they choose to remain inside, quietly praying and shutting their eyes to endure the night. Soon after, one person cries out after seeing what appears to be a human-shaped shadow standing outside the tent, before everything becomes silent once more. In isolated environments, repeated disturbances can transform uncertainty into fear, even without clear explanations. In places like this, does fear come from the forest or from the mind struggling to understand it? On March 20th, 2018, during a cold and rain-soaked night at Poco Lake in Indiana, solo camper Austin Armstrong arrived expecting little more than solitude, wet ground, and the quiet reassurance of a campfire.
I just went out in the middle of nowhere at this campground at Potoka Lake in Indiana. I'm the only one out here. Obviously, it's kind of cold and it's projected to get colder and it's raining. But I like a challenge whenever I camp, and I've camped in much worse weather conditions than this. So I figured, yeah, why not? So here's my little site right there.
The campground was completely empty, the weather deteriorating, but Austin embraced the conditions, setting up his small campsite alone and settling in for the night. As the hours passed, the rain briefly let up and the fire burned down to glowing embers. With a headlamp on, Austin walked toward the dark tree line to collect more firewood. The process was familiar.
So I got these logs here, and they're dry, but you can't just start a fire with just logs, you know? So you have to have all these like small sticks to get started. Well, everything's wet. So I'm trying to get it up and getting these small sticks and stuff burning. But once I can do that, then I can put this log back on, because I had it burning sort of earlier. Oh, this is a task, let me tell you. But the rain is... so it was mostly wet. What the... I don't know if you guys just heard that, but like... something literally just went boom over there. Holy crap. Go check it out. I don't see anything. Hello? I'm trying to find a rational explanation too. Like, maybe it was the wood. But I don't...
Scanning the ground, snapping damp branches, and moving back and forth between the fire and the surrounding woods while the faint outline of the campground remained barely visible. Everything felt normal, even calm. That sense of peace vanished instantly. A sudden, thunderous boom tore through the forest, far too loud and heavy to be a breaking branch or falling tree. Austin froze as the echo hung in the air, close and deliberate. He swept his flashlight across the trees, but the darkness gave nothing back. No movement, No eyes, only silence. Moments later, another sound followed, deeper and more abrupt, like something shifting its weight or climbing nearby.
Okay, this is better. Come on, surely there's not something out here right now. I will be upset. Hello? Oh my god. I would be so upset if there's something out here right now. But that was a very large boom and snap. It sounded like there was something like climbing through something. So it could have been an animal. I'm praying to God that it was something collapsing in the fire. But it was very, very loud. I guess you guys, maybe you guys...
The noise felt intentional, too powerful and fast to dismiss. Austin tried to reason it away, considering whether it could have come from collapsing wood near the fire. But the scale didn't match.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go back on my way now. I hope to God something's not out here right now. Alright, so here's an update. Well, the fire's doing really well, or was, up until this point. And then the rain started again. So, it's great. This is why I came out here, I guess, is, challenge the camping and just be away and just, I don't know. Decided to be a good idea. Still don't know what the big boom thing was. I've been keeping the music on my phone going, keeps my mind off of it. I don't know. It probably was just a fire, I hope. That's how I keep telling myself.
The forest no longer felt passive. It felt aware. He cautiously checked the area and found no explanation. No animals, no clear source, only a fallen sign and the growing realization that something unseen may have been present the entire time. As he returned to camp, the rain resumed, weakening the fire and eroding his sense of control. To calm himself, he kept music playing, attempting to drown out the unease that refused to fade. The night continued without answers. Whether the sound came from a large animal, shifting debris, or something more difficult to explain remains uncertain. What is clear is how quickly isolation turned unsettling. And if you were alone in the woods and heard something that powerful moving just beyond the light, would you stay? And would you ever feel truly alone out there again? Meet Franco, the bold creator behind the YouTube channel Franco TV, recognized for investigating some of the world's most mysterious and dangerous locations. His content centers on places most people intentionally avoid, documenting abandoned sites, restricted zones, and environments shaped by fear through a raw, immersive style. But during one investigation in a forest in Argentina, Franco and his companion Claudio would discover that certain locations resist being explored. On a hot, oppressive evening, Franco returned to a forest known for witchcraft, ritual practices, and an alarming number of missing person cases. Claudio accompanied him to provide support as they prepared to remain deep inside the restricted woods overnight. As daylight faded, the forest's reputation cast a heavy shadow over the investigation.
I made it with Claudio. Claudio, ¿qué tal? Right now we're going to be going into the forest and we're going to be going deeper into there. I just waited for him to get back, but it is starting to get nightfall and the time is now 5:52. On top of that, we also found out that there's a bunch of missing people that go on missing through this whole forest. Wow, that's dangerous. The thing is, that's kind of dangerous because at the same time at night I probably wouldn't have seen that. I could probably slip in there and fall. But I don't know what that's connected to. So a lot of this just goes to show you that the forest just keeps going on and on. The things that he was finding out about this place as far as missing people go. They are skeptical and thinking that maybe it could have been, what do you call that? They probably used people for like sacrificial stuff. And that's probably why they went missing. This is more like a missing 411 kind of location.
The danger revealed itself almost immediately. Just off the main trail, they uncovered a massive hidden pit, deep enough to seriously injure or kill anyone who stepped into it after dark. The forest felt vast and relentless, reinforcing local beliefs that some disappearances may be linked to darker forces tied to ritual activity. As they moved farther in, Unsettling signs of human presence appeared more frequently. Abandoned bags, worn shoes, and clothing hanging from trees suggested intentional placement rather than random debris. The forest's sounds shifted as well, with distant voices and a sudden heavy impact confirming they were not alone. At one point, Franco followed a narrow trail alone while Claudio stayed close behind. The deeper he went, the more enclosed the forest became, until he saw a large black figure move quickly between the trees before vanishing.
Holy, look what I finally found. I don't know if you guys ever read Reddit stories about creepy stuff, but there's stories about staircases that are found in the woods and you're not supposed to go near them. And if you see the staircases, you are to walk away because weird things will start happening. Could put you in a different place or something. But look at this. This looks like it was just teleported here in the middle of the fucking forest.
Shaken, he was unable to determine whether it was a person or something else entirely. The night grew darker when they encountered a perfectly constructed concrete staircase standing alone in the forest, leading nowhere. The structure felt completely out of place, echoing stories often linked to unexplained phenomena in remote woodlands.
And then you got this weird stuff. Look at this. There's like feathers. So there's feathers in this cup, and then right inside there is wrapped with string and rope. That could be witchcraft. Could very well be, but this is where they do a lot of sacrifices, is right here.
Soon after, they returned to a Virgin Mary shrine that had originally drawn Franco to the area, finding offerings, money, and clear signs of ritual activity, including feathers tightly bound with string. As darkness fully settled, the atmosphere turned oppressive. Branches snapped nearby, signaling their presence had been noticed.
The fire we got going on here. It was really muggy and humid. But the good news is that this fire...
They lit a small fire, hoping for protection, but it seemed to attract attention instead. A piercing scream cut through the forest, followed by silence, then whistling and faint singing drifting from deep within the trees.
You heard a scream? ¿Escuchaste un grito?
Sí.
Oh, sí, yo lo escuché.
También.
Sí. So we just heard another scream from the...
Sí.
See, I'm thinking we're gonna have to turn off the light because the fire, because it might be calling people over here. See, there is someone singing right now out in the dark. You just saw eyes glowing, and I've seen those eyes before. If you guys see what I think I'm seeing, hold on, I'm gonna use my other camera here. Switching to my psionics. If you see eyes glowing, I've seen that somewhere else. ¿Qué es eso? I just heard something to my left here. Oh, this is fucking creepy. Oh, yo lo tengo, yo lo tengo.
Children want to speak.
There we go. Okay.
She's coming.
¿Vio algo? Sí. He just saw something. Hola?
Footsteps moved closer to their camp, and Claudio reported seeing glowing eyes watching from the tree line. By 4 a.m., with activity becoming increasingly aggressive, they chose to leave. Although they escaped without injury, the experience left troubling questions behind. Were the sounds connected to missing people, hidden locals, or something far older bound to the forest itself? In places where human danger and the unknown intersect, survival may be the only victory. On August 25, 2025, deep within the remote wilderness of northern Ontario, a camper named Angelo established a solo campsite beside a perfectly calm, glass-like lake. The area was isolated and silent, the kind of place where nothing stirs without purpose.
Let me tell you, it's kind of cold now. It's only like 17 degrees Celsius. And what is that? There's something in the road there. Looks like nothing. Yeah, the roads getting in and out are a little bit feisty, so we gotta take it easy. Mind how we drive in here. So we just do gotta be cautious of, you know, leaving food around and stuff like that. And then obviously we gotta be cautious moose, because they're also out here, apparently. Confirmed by the locals. I wasn't expecting that. I've literally... but yeah, it's been pretty quiet. I mean, I've been recording, but like, haven't really been getting anything.
The night started out uneventfully. A small fire snapped and popped. The bench beneath him groaned softly, and dinner ended up overcooked, a mistake he quickly regretted. The temperature dropped faster than expected, and the rough access road served as a reminder to move carefully in an environment that offered little forgiveness. As the evening continued, time was filled with routine tasks. He adjusted his tarp, maintained the fire, cleaned his dishes, and made sure food was properly secured. Locals had warned him about wildlife in the region, especially moose, yet the forest felt strangely still despite the ongoing recording. That quiet didn't last. A faint coughing sound echoed from behind him, followed by subtle movement in the trees.
Why did it just sound like somebody coughed? Hello? That was fucking weird. Somebody back there? It legit sounded like it was behind me. Let me see if I hear some. Yeah, pretty lucky right now. Okay. Somebody just clapped again. Who's there?
Leo.
Who the hell is Leo? Alright, I'm gonna go check. Hello? Like, it legit sounded like it was right back there. The fuck could that have been? Like, it sounded...
He spun around, sweeping his flashlight through the darkness, but found nothing. Only cold air drifting off the lake's surface. The noises returned not long after. Soft knocking sounds, light clapping, and a sharp whistle cut through the night. A nearby device suddenly crackled and repeated a single name, carried as if by the wind itself. Soon after, rock shifted nearby, suggesting something heavy had moved just beyond sight. Unease quickly set in. Angelo paced near the fire with his rifle, convinced he was being watched from the tree line. Each sound felt closer than the last, circling just outside the firelight without ever revealing its source.
If we have a good connection to Starlink as well. But yeah, I just want to give you one more good view of the lake. It is so foggy this morning. It's crazy, super eerie. I didn't really hear anything else throughout the night, but yeah, this spot is creepy. So what I think I'm gonna do, there's another lake.
By morning, thick fog covered the lake. He packed up quietly, shaken but physically unharmed. Whatever had lingered near the campsite never revealed itself, and never truly felt gone either. Whether the sounds came from wildlife, environmental effects, or something far more disturbing remains unclear. But if you heard those noises in total isolation, would you have stayed until sunrise or left the moment the forest responded? That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.